What's going on, everybody? Demarco and Eric here for another episode of Deadlifts, Dogs, and Dad Jokes. We are so excited to be back. We have been on a little bit of a hiatus, primarily due to my busy life as a stay-at-home dad and trying to balance training, taking care of my family, working, trying to keep our apartment from being a total disaster zone, and just trying to find that balance, as they call it, which it's a constant process. We're always working towards that, and we'll talk about that more later. But I'm super pumped. We are back. We are here to help you become your strongest self and have some fun along the way. And Eric, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, Demarco. It's good to see you. Good to see you with that Batman shirt too, man. I love it.
Man. I'm feeling good, man. Training hard, feeling those Batman vibes, and you're rocking Mando right now. Is that Mando or is that Boba Fett?
Mandalorian.
Mando, yep. Baby. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's good to see you too, man. Good to catch up. I like that we have basically DC and Marvel / Disney covered.
and for the record, we did not plan that, so this is all on the cusp.
That's it.
But yeah, man, things are good. I hope you're doing well too. I know we've caught up periodically through texting and a couple calls here and there. We do the voice memos here and there, but life gets busy, as you know, and there's roadblocks, but we do what we can to work around them and obviously catch up on here like we're going to today. So let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's really the name of the game. I mean, it's cyclical, seasonal, and there's going to be times in your life when there's certain projects and commitments that you have are going to require more of your time, and you won't be able to give as much time to others, and that's just part of it. You just gotta. I don't want to get too in depth now because we'll get into it later, but you just have to always be following what Simon Sinek said. The power of why. Always ask why, and make sure you're always trying to recalibrate and keep following whatever your North Star is, whatever your guiding principles and values are. So yeah, sure. Eric, how your workouts going? How's life? How's business? How's everything, man?
Yeah, it's good. Well, I'll start off with, for me, we'll go with my workouts. I think training is obviously very vital to all of us. I think it's good for mental health, physical health.
Absolutely, man.
Just being at your best. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, I've always liked structure. So I think anyone out there, I think just having some sort of plan, you don't always need to, I think it's okay to deviate away from it and kind of do other things. I mean, I would say just have at least a basic template. Right now I'm doing a 4-day split. So I do an upper body day, I do a lower body day, and then I actually have 2 full body days, and both are accessory-ish based.
Oh, man.
So I know you don't know about it because I kind of just started it up a couple of weeks ago. I did Ben Bruno's 6-week training program.
Oh, yeah.
I started that up. That was a couple of months ago, and it was 6 weeks. It's really good. I won't give a long review, but basically Ben does a good job of giving full body workouts to his clients. And I think it's understanding that many people probably won't train more than 3 days a week. So it's a situation. It's like, obviously, yes, we get it. If you're a bodybuilder, if you're training for something specific, or you're able to train 5-6 days a week and feel good on that, then by all means, full body may not be for you. But I think for the average person, it's pretty good. And I test drove it. I was like, you know what, I'll try it out. And my body felt pretty good on it. So did that for 6 weeks. And then I switched over to this other program, and I'm going to butcher his name. His name, I'm going to look it up right now. I don't want to make sure I get it right. Abel. I think it's Abel. Yeah. His name's Abel. And he knows Ben Bruno as well. And it's a similar format as far as the programming is a standpoint of just like some of the exercise selection, but also he uses the same app. He uses the Trainerize app.
Oh, yeah.
The Trainerize app. Yeah. So he uses that.
I use it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really good. And just being able to stay consistent with that. And again, it holds accountability for me too. So that's been really good. Yeah. So the workouts have been great. And then as far as just life, like just being able to stay consistent with a schedule, and being able, I still work 4 days a week, but there's always things that come up. Like, for instance, I'm going in tonight and working a little bit. So there's clients that need to switch up their schedules, but for the most part, I try to stick to about 4 days a week with a flex day, usually here and there, as far as to fit makeups in. And how it is, just trying to fit everybody in. But What else did you ask me? I want to make sure I answer all your questions. You did the workouts.
Yeah, no, that was it, man. Yeah, how's workouts and life, slash business, how's
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to ramble too much. We could keep this conversation, but I think a couple other things too. I have an ACL tear. I found this out a couple months ago. I kind of knew it was on the horizon. Yeah, I don't think I ever told you, but years back, probably like 5-6 years ago, when I was at Boston Sports Clubs, actually, I was at BSC at Woburn, and I was playing basketball and just 3-on-3 tournament, and ended up just tweaking it. I was trying to go past a defender, and my knee did some wonky move. I was wearing like CrossFit sneakers, so I wasn't even wearing the right sneakers. That's on me. But yeah, it really hurt. At the time, it was a lot. It was like an 8 or 9 out of 10 pain, and that definitely. I don't know if we were really. That's before I really think I knew you. It was like probably right before I was going to Wellington.
Yeah,
I was like maybe it was closer to 7 years ago now, but it was a situation where that definitely let me up for a little while. And yeah, I had to pivot my training, and I was able to recover. I don't want to go into a crazy process with it, but I recovered without doing physical therapy, actually. And I knew that something was up because it would always kind of bother me. And then in the last couple of years, in really the last year, I'd say, it started tweaking again. And I talked to our physical therapist at my work, and he's given me some protocols to help with my knee. So some knee rehab work, and my plan is to get surgery. I just don't know when. I don't have a specific date yet, but probably within the next couple of months.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been the main thing. And then just being able to pivot and work around that. So I have a training program in place, but like I was going to kind of talk about, is the biggest thing one of the biggest things that I've takeaways from the last couple of months is being able to pivot, and knowing that things might not go as according to plan, and you have to kind of make adjustments on the way to whatever path you're going towards. So that's been kind of key for me to just remind myself, more or less. And yeah, I would say that's been the main thing. And then with all that, just having little things that I sort of each day make sure that I sort of work on or check off boxes. So we've sort of alluded to it too in other episodes, but the basics still apply, and they still work. And I use you ever heard of a passion planner before? I think we might have talked about it previous episode.
Maybe it doesn't ring a bell though.
Yeah. So with a passion planner, basically it's a good way to, you could track basic things. You could track like your goals and there's actually pages specifically each month to say like, who am I going to check in with this month to make sure I hit my goals? What you actually can build a strategic, like a map of, okay, here's my goal. And then here's some things, outside of the box, some things that I'm going to do to make sure I get to that goal. So that's definitely been really crucial to just holding me accountable. So it's been pretty good to do that. So it's definitely been a good way to make sure you set up for success. And yeah, that's been the main thing for me. But outside of that, I think it's been mostly just normal life stuff, and trying to get out when I can and travel a little bit. But it's been mostly the Northeast. I haven't been able to go anywhere far really. But yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, man. And hey, I do hate to hear about your knee, but it sounds like you're doing a great job of working around the injury and still getting your workouts in. So that's awesome. Let that be a lesson, everyone. We all get hurt. That's just part of the game. Especially when you're pushing big weights, you're pushing your body. Our bodies are, they're not indestructible. We sometimes you can slip, make a mistake. I've knock on wood, I've never torn anything, but I've definitely jacked myself up pretty bad in the past, and making a little mistake or something, or just sometimes pushing a little bit past your capacity, and it happens. But you just got to pivot, keep going, and just do the best you can, man. Do the best you can with what you have. So, but yeah, man, life's been great for me. It's been super, super crazy hectic, even more so than usual. This is week 2 of potty training with Vivi, and it has been quite the adventure. We started off, we said we're going to say bye-bye to diapers, and for the most part she's still wearing a diaper at nighttime, and she wears a pull-up for naps and then whenever we're out and about. But when we're home, she's rocking them. She's in no bottoms, and just the first couple days was big messes on the floor, and lots of cleaning up the floors, and towels were being busted out. But it's progressing very well. Vivi's very smart, very sharp, and it's just about, just like training, it's just about consistency. So it's been really good, but we had some we've had some big messes on the floor, but that's been good. That's just been a big shift for me schedule wise too, because I have to be even more focused on Vivi, than more so than I normally am. I mean, I'm always paying attention, but we had reached a point where I was able to do chores and do maybe a little light workout while she was playing or doing something else. And now, we're kind of back in that, like, I gotta, like, I hate to say it like this, but almost kind of be a helicopter parent initially. It's getting better because she's now communicating with me when she needs to go, and we're getting there. But the first couple of days, it was just like, it was wild, man. It was it was fun, but it was good. Built resilience. So I do think that adversity ultimately builds character, and
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
been great. What's up?
No, I said exactly. That's the key. But also, how has that pivoted your workouts?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, just having to be even more condensed and strategic. I mean, I've ever since I became a stay-at-home parent, I've always had to be strategic with workouts, but my
Mhm.
time windows are even more condensed. So I just, to your point, what you just said prior, I do 3 workouts a week, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
I physically could do more, but I
yeah,
don't have the time. Technically, I do have the time, but
yeah.
I'm using my extra hours to work, to train my clients, and
Right.
serve them, take care of them, get them closer to
Correct.
their goals, and also, of course, bring in a little bit of income.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have nothing but respect for stay-at-home parents, but never, at no point did I ever want that to be the core of my identity.
Yeah.
I'm a parent, but that's part of who I am, and I still very much am a coach and a lifter, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to give those parts up. So I'm very fortunate. My wife, Lauren's a very hard worker and very supportive of my career, and I'm very lucky. I get to have my cake and eat it too. It's pretty dope. It makes for long days, but it's fulfilling. But man, I'll work out when she naps, which is typically like 1 to 2:30. Today obviously we're doing the podcast, so I'll probably hit it tonight or
Yeah.
sometime later this afternoon. But yeah, 3 workouts a week, 30 to 45 minutes tops, including maybe upwards to an hour, including mobility, movement prep, and everything. And
Yeah.
my program is still simple, man. I'm still working on Sinister.
Yeah.
I
You mentioned that.
almost freaking made it a couple weeks ago. We were getting ready to go on a trip, and I did. So for those of you that don't know Sinister, I've talked about it before, but it's 100 single arm swings in 5 minutes with the 48 kilogram bell, 106-pound bell. And then, so it's essentially 10 swings every 30 seconds. So you get about 15 seconds rest, and it works. Yeah. And then it's 10 Turkish get-ups with that same weight. And it's 1 per minute. So you do 5 on each side. You're just going back and forth. And
Right.
I was feeling good, man. I was definitely tired, but I wasn't dying. Aerobically was still making it. And I got to get up number 9, and I got up into the half kneeling position, and my grip started to go. I lost the stability, and luckily I knew what was happening, and I have experience with failing get-ups with that weight. And I just kind of came down and set it down safely, and didn't get hurt or anything, and didn't wake up the baby, which was important because she was
That's
asleep.
good.
So
DeMarco, what's the overall goal with the Sinister? What's your overall functional goal? We'll say with that.
yeah, so for me, the goal is the goal. So the goal, what Dan John says, keep the goal. The goal is to hit Sinister to the strong first Sinister standard, or the Pavel Sutherland standard, who started the whole program. And the 100 single arm swings are to chest height. So basically what we're looking for is a range of probably about, say, here. Let me pan so you can see. Basically about here to here.
Yep.
So my swings are kind of low to mid chest. A lot of the folks I've worked with and have also done it are a little bit higher than me. I think they're just stronger. But I'm in the range, so I'm good. And just looking for hitting it to standard, being locked out, safe form. But yeah, just doing it in the time, man. 5 minutes of swings, 1 minute rest, and then 10 minutes of get-ups. And the goal is to hit it and to do it and submit the video, and and just do it. The cool thing is, this is the less important part to me, but I will admit I will enjoy it when I hit it. You do end up on the website. You're on a pretty short list of people, compared to, like, say, the total number of kettlebell lifters, which I don't know what that number is, but anyways, it's cool to get the recognition, and it's fun. And I'm using the same kettlebell that my coach Sean used, as well as my friend Mike. So there's kind of this funny with your Mandalorian shirt, little Star Wars tie-in. I feel very much like we're like the Jedi. We're just kind of training with the same lightsaber, and it's just kind of a cool little mini brotherhood there. But yeah, man, I just want to hit Sinister. I've been working on it for 4 years. I'm really close, and when I do it, I'm gonna have some fun and just test out my deadlift. A lot of lifters have done the challenge and have noticed gains in other lifts.
Yes.
Bench, squat, and deadlift go up. I mean, posterior chain stuff makes sense, right? Like if you're just hammering your posterior chain that hard, that much volume and weight,
Yes.
it makes sense that your deadlift would go up, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
man.
think yeah, to add to all that too, I think it's yours is a performance goal, which I think it's good to have performance goals that'll help you get towards your aesthetic or whatever other goal you have in mind. I think it always comes down to that. You know, being able to be functional, but also being able to increase in something in a performance metric is going to be really key to all that. So it's good you mentioned that. Do you have a specific like goal? So after you hit your Sinister, what are you looking to do after that?
Yeah, so great question, man. I love it. Yeah, I always have a performance goal because I need something to keep me going. I'll be honest, I love working out and training, but between taking care of my family and working, training my clients, there are plenty of days where I do not feel like doing it. And I have that conversation internally with myself, and I say, well, you said you were going to do this, so you need to do it. And I feel like a lot of culture, like the positivity culture and like the productivity culture is currently like, oh, you can do it, you're great, you can do whatever you set your mind to, and there's truth to all that for sure. But I kind of go the other route where I will start to get angry at myself for even considering not doing it, and just say, listen, you need to commit. Like you've committed, you need to follow through, and you need to do it. I'm not going to use the words that I say to myself internally because I don't want to be vulgar but I do use some of that language with myself. I don't speak to my clients that way, obviously, but I, for myself, respond well to a little bit of that.
Yes, me too.
A little bit, kind of almost like that major pain vibe, minus breaking people's fingers.
It instills a little bit of sense of urgency, right?
Exactly. And yeah, man. So after that, I'm just gonna minimalist workouts have been just a life changer for me. You know, kettlebell training. I'm gonna be doing, push-ups, pull-ups. So my goal after that is to hit a dragon pistol squat. So I don't know if you've seen the video before. They're pretty bonkers. They're pretty awesome. And then I want to do that slow negative that I told you about earlier in the year, the Michael Myers one arm.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yes.
So I'll be doing some kettlebell work still, as always, and just doing bodyweight stuff and getting outside, walking with my beautiful daughter and beautiful dog, and just staying active, man. I just want to be. I'm always working to become my best self. I've been. We can save this for another episode because I don't want to take up too much time. But I'm always, just trying to level up, man. Just trying to work, get better, and even if it's just a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, that brings me to the next point too, is just taking action. Even if it's small actions every week, those small actions compound into obviously something much greater. So that's a big lesson even to myself. Even if I'm like, oh my gosh, it doesn't seem like I'm really doing that much as far as like, let's say from week 1 to week 2 or 3, but from week 1 to let's say like week 9 or 10, if you keep doing those little things, then all of a sudden they're really, really big. And you look back the big picture and you're like, wow, I actually accomplished a lot.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, no, it adds up tremendously. And I look back, it's really cool. You know how you go back in your phone and you try to find like an old photo, to reminisce, or if you use it for a post or something, or you're just like, hey, like I go back and look at old pictures of Vivian. It's just like, oh my God, she's just so big. She's so grown up, compared to when I joked that she was my little amoeba. She was just this little like blob. Obviously it's a newborn and it's fun, but man, I go back and look at some of my old training videos. I'm like, man, I've really come a long way. Some of my old videos just look like straight garbage as far as like technique and just how exhausted and dead I was with half the weights that I'm doing now.
No, that's a good point. I hate to cut you off, but that's a good point. I say it to clients. I said it to even myself. Like, if you could take, let's say, like the first workout or first training day with somebody, and they do that workout, and then all of a sudden you say, like, okay, 3 or 6 months later, if you were to with that same person, you're like, hey, look, like here's where you are now. Imagine if you did that first workout, that would be way too easy for you now. You know what I mean? The workout 1 as opposed to workout 60. So I tell people all the time, that's how you know you're getting better. And it's all about, to me, and you agree, is getting better. The end goal with any of our clients or anyone you're working with or yourself is to just get better in some capacity. And I know it's just like the really cute answer. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like get better, cool. But it's like, in reality, yes, like it's hard to measure. Like, for instance, it's easier to measure like metrics rather than just saying like, oh yeah, like I think my bicep grew a little bit, or I think this got a little bit better. But if you have some sort of like trail, I guess, you know what I mean? That's why like recording and having, like I said, I use a passion planner for more of like the general blueprint of my weeks. But as far as like, if you record on like either your phone or like a journal or an app or whatever it is, and just get consistent on just tracking. And this goes for anything you do. Then all of a sudden, like you look back weeks later and you're like, okay, like here's the trends, here's where I started. And obviously you can review it to make sure the trends are going up in the way you want. And then you can make adjustments if you need to. And then let's say like week 12, you can say, okay, like from week 1 to week 12, like look how much better I got on all my lifts, let's say, or I'm walking more, I'm eating more whole foods, I am drinking more water, whatever, right? And I always think I go back to that kind of stuff, but the basics win every day, every time, you know. And then it's like, then once you get the basics down, or you feel like you get the basics down, then you can start getting more specific. But for me, like, because I didn't really go through my specific goals, but I think for me, it's just staying healthy and keeping my knee feeling good. And I've had a little like wonky shoulder too, so making sure that's good. I want to be able to do daily activities. I want to be able to like play basketball or ski or like do these basic things that I used to do all the time that I still do, but are a little bit harder because I just don't want to tweak anything. So I feel like if I could stay healthy and kind of keep some sort of athleticism, but also build my lifts, right? Like you sort of mentioned with the Sinister, I still want to build my core lifts, deadlifts, bench presses, squats, those kind of things. So kind of like a pseudo power lifter, not really. I mean, I don't necessarily want to compete, but be able to keep respectable numbers for my body weight just in general. I think that's just good for building muscle and strength, of course, but then also like we've sort of alluded to, is to just feeling better. So making sure that I do rehab or some sort of recovery and make sure that I'm eating well and, getting all the proper nutrients and doing everything I can, like you said, to be the best version of myself. So it's just having whatever that is for that person, whatever their best self is, finding that and then sticking to that over time.
I love it, man. It's so true. And it's the same message over and over again that we kind of ultimately fall upon, take action, even small action, small steps consistently over time will compound. But it's true. I mean, again, I'll save all this for another episode because I don't want to take up too much time, but I've really, it's amazing how becoming a parent, I'll just say parent, because I'm sure the same thing happens for a mother. I'll speak on my experience because I'm, as a father, I can tell you my experience as a father, but I have no doubt that for all parents, that this is true. So I'll just go ahead and state that now. But becoming a dad, I have such a sense of urgency now in a great way to be the best self I can be. One of my favorite quotes I ever read, I can't remember, I think it was Ryan Holiday. I think it was one of his quotes on his daily dad or daily stoic page. And it was basically, it was kind of dark, but also really, really, really profound. It was, you are either the ancestors to your children or the ghosts. And it was kind of,
never heard that.
That's deep. And it's kind of, it's like, will you be someone they look up to and, have fond memories and tell people great things about? Of course there's going to be bad too. No one's perfect, but, or will it be, oh God, how long, someone's like, oh, how's it with your dad or your mom? It's like, someone answers like, oh my God, how much time do you have?
Right.
So we have a choice. I have a choice right now as to what kind of parent I want to be. And, luckily, I have a great support system with Lauren, colleagues, friends, family, and between working out, between making better financial decisions, eating healthier, drinking more water, and working on vice management, as I like to refer to it. It has helped me become my best self, and I'm doing it for me first and foremost, but it's heavily, of course, impacting my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my daughter, and it's such a motivator. It's such a motivator to become the best I can, and small changes over time do make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen to that, brother. That's exactly. I agree. Not a parent yet, but I can totally understand and agree with that. I think and two, like you said, you want to be the best version of yourself. it's more of a pride thing too. I mean, you look at it in sports, you look at it across the world, and anything like presidents, whoever it is, like you want to set an example.
Yes.
And you want to be that person that people look up to, or the person that becomes your hero, right? It's like, I don't know about you, like the people that I respect in the world and that are leaders typically have a lot of the same things in common. They lead by example, and they get better. They get 1% better, and they don't let the outside noise affect them. I think that's the big thing too. It's like there's always gonna be criticisms no matter what. So you have to kind of block out the noise. Of course, like I could be the one to say, like, a lot of times I'll peruse things too. If I, like, let's say after a Celtics game, I'm going to look up and see the criticism if they lose. But in reality, it's only going to help. Well, I mean, for me, as far as like to learn maybe what they did wrong, but for them, it's like, just don't worry about that. Maybe you can read into it a little bit, like, okay, be okay with the loss initially, and then kind of move on and just get better the next time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's but all great points. And it's very easy, man. And nowadays, especially, there's just, God, dude, between social media and technology,
Too much
and
out there, too much
there's
information,
so
man.
much out there.
I knew I wanted to touch base on that. You're bringing up a lot of great points, and it's awesome. But yeah, it's overly saturated. There's just a lot of information, and it's hard to weed through. I think that could be one thing that I think paying it forward for, like, let's say me and you on this podcast, or even with my clients, or just in general with anybody, is just being able to kind of direct people in the direction of where people are actually coaching, let's say for trainers, as opposed to people that are just online and they may not have trained anybody. Or let's say just in general, whatever the topic may be, just being able to steer people in the right direction for sound advice that they can take and call to action and do right away.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It is probably the hardest it's ever been to be focused.
I agree.
But I think it's the most vital time to be focused. I think both are kind of happening at the same time. So I think that's a great point you brought up, Eric.
Yeah,
so,
and I think I don't want before we move on to some other stuff that
you got 5 minutes before you got to go.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. Okay. Yeah. So all I was going to say is this. I mean, I think it's good to spend like 10, 15 minutes a day, just kind of breathe, just focus on breath work or some sort of meditation, but also gratitude or journaling or something that you can like reflect on things, but also being able to understand, like, okay, what am I going to do? What's that reset that makes sure that I have a good day or a good week? So I think that's going to be really, really key to make sure people stay on track.
Yeah, definitely, man. And, surround yourself with the right people. Try to manage your environment as best you can. There are certain things out of your control, but just do the best you can to set yourself up for success. So Eric is leaving in a few minutes to go pick up some groceries. So we're going to make sure we get out of here on time.
It can be a little after 2:20. Remember, I have a little bit of time, but I don't want.
Not that our audience has to worry about it, of course, but just letting you know why maybe it feels like a little bit of a sharp pivot. But final little segment we're going to talk about is books. So I'd like to share with you a book that I read recently, and then give you a call to action. So something we've been talking about, trying to give you some actionable steps that you can take in order to add value to your life, and, like we always say, become your best self and have some fun along the way. So my book is The 10 Commandments of Business Failure, written by Donald Keogh. And Mr. Keogh, he's actually passed away. He's been passed away for a while, but may he rest in peace, was the CEO and at one point director of the Coca-Cola company. And very fascinating, very interesting person. He talks about the 10 rules, basically the 10 commandments to follow if you want your business to fail, which is awesome. And then, of course, the flip side of that is the opposite, which is what you hopefully will do in order for your business to succeed. So it's really good stuff. He actually talks about the Coca-Cola company and admits the mistakes that they've made in the past. One of which was if you haven't seen the documentary, I highly recommend it. But when they switched to the new Coke flavor, and there was essentially just a mutiny, a customer mutiny over it, and their shared prices dropped, and the company almost totally just went under. It was pretty wild. And then he talked about examples when they branched into a market that wasn't really true to their dream and their vision. And then they followed these rules or the opposite of these rules, and then were able to kind of recalibrate themselves. And I like the humility of it. I like the humility that where he had to admit mistakes that he made and that they made as a company, and things that they did to kind of right the ship and keep going. Because um, it, obviously the Coca-Cola, it's like one of the biggest companies in the world. I mean, like talk about a brand that's everybody in the planet knows. I mean, pretty much it's pretty well known. One of the biggest, one of the most recognizable brands in the world. And the rules in there are awesome. You know, my very favorite one is being inflexible. You know, be inflexible if you want your business to fail. And these rules are great because they apply not just to business, but also your life. You know, they apply to like Eric and I as coaches. They apply to me as a father, me as a husband, you know, member of the community, and they're great. So, you know, so my big challenge for myself as far as it is trying to not be inflexible, of course, and trying to be more flexible, and be open-minded, and accept situations as they are. With potty training Vivi, my life has been very chaotic, and sometimes I work out in the morning, sometimes I work out at night. At the end of the day, I can't do everything, so I have to focus on what is most important, which is, of course, take care of my family, take care of myself, and train my clients, to take care of my clients, and make sure that I'm serving them the best that I can. And then everything else, of course, we fit around there the best we can. So, my big takeaway here, my big call to action to you is that everybody can name drop a book. It's very easy to do that. You can watch a quick YouTube clip and say, yeah, I saw this video and it was really cool and really life-changing. But what have you done to apply it and to implement it? If you read a really awesome book, and of course you can talk about the book, that's fine. It's fun to do that. Eric and I do it on the show all the time. But if you don't take that next step and apply what you've read in the book into your life, your business, your relationships, your projects, then what are we really doing here? If you're reading purely for entertainment, that's fine. If you're like, I read this book, I loved it, it was awesome, great, that's awesome. But if you really want to take the next step, go past that surface level, apply some of those steps. Obviously, like I gave myself as an example, but that's my challenge to you is if you read a book about fitness, nutrition, business, lifestyle, relationships, coaching, anything in that realm where you're just trying to, self-help as it's called, but anything where you're trying to level up in your life, then take that information and do something with it. My favorite quote from Bruce Lee ever, probably my favorite quote is, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. I think I may have switched those. I think it's the other order, but basically you understand the gist of it. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't do something with it, then where's the value add?
I like that. Yeah, that's a lot. It's got a lot of good take homes. I'm sure I'll have to re-listen to get all that again. I think that was good stuff, and I'll definitely check it out. Put it in the show notes for sure, so we can have that. Yeah. But my book, I haven't read it yet. This is the book that I'm going to read, and I think I'll have some actionable steps with it. But I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah. Either way, we'll put that in the show notes too. A lot of what at least I'm hearing about it is it's definitely a very practical. It's going to be good for anyone that needs to manage debt, anyone to understand sort of like investing, where to invest their money, how they can do things efficiently, getting out of bad habits. What else? Probably just more about saving and just understanding where your bucket should go. So a lot of just basic stuff that over time compounds if they're not being done, that can kind of force upon you to have to make pivots and change, which we've talked about. So I think it'll be really good. I'm looking forward to having more feedback on that in the future. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking to read next.
That's great, man. That's great. And I think that's a great spot for us to wrap this thing up. We really appreciate those of you listening, especially those of you that are still around after the ups and downs and the roller coaster that has been, just life and everything. It's been challenging, but hey, we're still in the game. We're still doing it. And we just took a little hiatus, but we're back. So very excited for, to continue this show and hopefully give you more value. Thank you all for being here. And we're here to help you become your strongest self, have some fun along the way. And until next time, remember, train your body, feed your mind.
Nice. And also too, we'll talk about our future events and stuff like that next episode, as far as things we want to do in the next couple months and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have some fun news to share in the future with everybody, which will be a business that I am going to be launching in the near future. So I'm going to save that for later. But yes,
Very cool.
let's do it. Awesome.
Awesome,
I'll see you
Marco.
soon, man.
I'll talk to you.